Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be going over basically the project that you guys are going to be completing for me Thursday through the weekend. So first I want to show you some examples. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a Madlib, and a Madlib is basically a story where you take certain words out like nouns, verbs, adjectives, and you leave them blank, and then you ask your friends around you to basically give you answers. Like you'd ask like, hey, give me a noun, hey, give me a verb. You write them in and then you put them all into the story, and it creates a wacky story that's silly but can be really funny and rewarding. So here's a website you can go to called madtakes.com. These are all free Madlibs if you want to get some ideas. I'm going to go ahead and click on one here and show you. So this one's called Be Kind. So normally in a Madlib, the person playing the Madlib does not see the story. And that's exactly like you see here. But what they are asked to do is to give me a noun, or give me a plural noun, or give me a place. And then later all of that is compiled and put together into a funny story. Hopefully it's funny. So here, for example, I know this story is like called Be Kind Adlib. I have no idea what it's about. So it's asking for a noun. Nouns are person, place, or thing. So I'm going to say raptor. That's a noun. Plural, I'm going to say sharks. Another noun would be a dragon. A place would be a temple. An adjective is like an enhancing word, so fast, the fast dog, the sharp knife. So yeah, let's just do sharp, why not? And then lastly, a noun, another one, let's say hunter, right? So I've got, these are basically the parts of speech, and I have no idea. And then when I go and I hit go mad, it's going to take my words and wrap them into the story. So let's see here. This says, be kind to your raptor-footed sharks, for a duck may be somebody's dragon. Be kind to your sharks in temple, where the weather is always sharp. You may think that this is the hunter. Well, it is. Right. They're very nonsensical, and it really just depends on the Madlib that you create, because it can be a lot of fun. I've definitely rolled on the ground a few times with some funny Madlibs that I created. But anyway, that's basically the gist of your story. Let's get to what you need to do. That was just the overview. Okay, so if you are in Repl Classroom, you will see that I'm actually going to switch over here to my student account because it should be in the assignment now. I'm going to be doing the whole assignment. So all you guys need to do is watch this video and you will know what you need to do. I'll try to go a little quick so the video is not too long, but I can't make any promises. So if I'm a student in Mr. Riefenstahl's classroom, this account I'm in is like a student in my own class. You'll see here Madlib project. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Right, so on the right-hand side, I have very brief directions, and that's because I'm making this video. You're gonna have to watch this video in order to complete this task. But the overview is you need to write a short story, replace words in that story with variable references, then use prompts, like the prompt function, to save the user's answers. And then basically you're going to save the story into a variable and then alert it to where the person can read it. And then test your code several times before submitting. So let's get started. I'm going to hit focus to bring this over here. If I hit run now, I see the results. It just says Madlib projects. This is HTML. We're not going to be working with HTML. Make sure you click on index.js. Right, and so here I just have redirections and follow guiding video for help. This is the guiding video. So the first thing I want to do is create a story, right? So you don't actually have to use code yet. You can write it just in comments, or so like, let's say I'm gonna write a story like, there once was a boy who lived in a forest. One day he was approached by a elderly looking man. The man had 3 eyes and claimed he could read the future. The boy asked him to tell him his future, but instead the elderly man told him a joke. The boy was not pleased. This is a ridiculous story. Please make a better story than this. And decided to leave. On his way home, he fell into a ravine. The end. Gosh, that was a morbid tale. Hopefully your story is a lot happier than that. But basically, this is a story that I've created, and what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to, this is probably the hardest part of the project. So pay attention here, and I'm thinking myself how I'm going to approach this. I'm going to go ahead and put this in quotation marks. So it is now a string. This is a string, basically. The whole story. And I'm going to do variable story and then equals. And then now this is a variable. This is actually stored in a variable called story. And what one thing in the directions, as I say, is you guys need to test your code. What I would do is I would test this right now. Use your console.log statements, story, okay? And then what's happening is I should see all of this text appear in the console when I hit run. Right. So basically that is an example of me creating a very long string variable and storing it in a variable named story. Okay, so how are we going to make this more fun? Well, first off, we can make this more fun by I'm gonna take words out and I'm gonna replace them with variables. So pay attention here. I'm gonna shrink the console for a second. We don't need that, but I do need some room to work here. So first off, there once was a boy who lived in a forest. I'm going to take boy. You have to be really careful here. I'm going to put a quotation there and a plus sign. And then I'm going to put a plus sign here and a new quotation. And then basically, I need to make sure I use the same quotation symbol, so I'm using the single one. So here, boy, you notice how boy changed color? I'm going to change this to noun 1 is the name of this. And so what I'm going to do is go replace boy anywhere in my story, copy. I'm going to replace anywhere it says boy. So here, I'm going to highlight this and hit Control V. And you'll notice because I got the quotation marks, it makes it nice and easy. You do need to look at the coloring. The boy, here's boy again. I'm going to Control V. Was not pleased. On his way home, he fell into a ravine. The end. Okay, so now just doing one at a time, right? I'm going to do variable noun 1. Please notice that these have to match the name. And then here I'm going to write prompt. And then I'm going to write give me a noun, right? And so check this out. Once again, testing one line of code at a time. I'm going to run this code. And it says give me a noun. So now I'm going to say lizard. I don't need to capitalize, but lizard, give me a noun, lizard. Okay. So very good. So now the word lizard is stored in noun 1 and it will be injected into this story. And I can see that if I go down here to my story. Look, there once was a lizard who lived in a forest. All of a sudden, the story is like completely changed, right? Just by changing the noun. The lizard asked him to tell him his future, but instead the elderly man told him a joke. The lizard was not pleased and decided to leave. On his way home, he fell into a ravine. The end. Right? So it works. Obviously, you're seeing that there's some issues here with spacing. So look here where it says lizard who, right? And up here, lizard who. What you need to do is just put your cursor right here and hit spacebar on that. And now watch. You'll have to debug this, which means just running the code over and over. I hit run. Give me a noun, lizard. I'll just keep using the same. Right, and you'll notice that space has changed, right? So basically you have to put the space inside of these quotation marks. Let's see here. So some other spots I need to fix. The lizard asked him, so I can a space on the front, a space on the other side, and then right here the lizard was not pleased. And then to make my life a little bit easier, I noticed I used the male pronoun throughout my story. So I might want to change give me a noun to like give me a male noun. You know, it's weird, but then that way I don't have to go through my story and be like, one day he was approached by an elderly looking man. Because if I said, give me a noun and I put princess, then it would read really weird, right? So yeah, just be aware of how you want to make your story flow as best you can. So that was noun one, and that replaced, and you can see how the story has completely changed, right? My hero is now a lizard, it's not a boy. Next, let's do another part of the story that we want to, like the elderly man. Let's leave the looking man, but let's get rid of elderly, like because I use elderly a few times. So first, I'm going to start out, I'm going to put the quotation, the plus sign, because the plus sign is meaning you're concatenating. That's why we have to be able to concat. And you guys, you do have to go slow on this. You have to be very methodical. So instead of elderly, I'm going to just call this one adjective. Adjectives are enhancing words. So I'll call this adjective 1. And then I'll create variable adjective 1. I'll have a new prompt. This prompt will be, oh yeah, give me an adjective, right? So let's test this. Once again, I wrote this code, but I don't want to go, you don't want to go too far, you want to test it. So I'm going to hit run, whatever lizard, just to keep the story the same. It's asking me the same, and then it says give me an adjective. I'm going to say fat, right? So hit OK. Let's look. There once was a lizard who lived in a forest. One day he was approached by a fat-looking man. The man had 3 eyes and claimed he could read the future. The lizard asked him to tell him his future, but instead the elderly, so I need to fix that with fat and inject that variable reference. The lizard was not pleased and decided to leave his home. On his way home, he fell into a ravine. Okay, so here I'm going to go find, I can actually just copy this, right? Just make sure you get the quotation marks and everything. And then I'm going to hit paste and then run my code again to double check. But instead, the fat man told him a joke, right? Now this story is already becoming funnier. So this is good. Right, so hopefully this is basically the whole crux of the whole basic project. You're just taking words out of your story and replacing them with variables. The order of code is important. When you make your story, just make sure it's below these prompt questions and stuff. So I'm going to do one more to show you guys. But please, you need to, I'll put the requirements on the project on how many variables, but the more interactive it is, the more fun it'll be. So we could do, he was approached, the man had 3 eyes and claimed he could read the, so I think eyes would be funny to replace the man, like, so let's do this. I'm going to do quotation plus, it's going to go to the next line, plus this quotation here, right? So I'm going to replace eyes with just noun2 for now. And then I can even, if you want guys, I can just copy this, but you just need to be methodical, very precise here, and I'm going to call this noun2. And I can just say give me a noun, right? And so noun2, right, is going to match that, and let's try this. The man had 3 noun2, so here, run my code again, lizard, okay, fat. Give me a noun2, assuming I didn't know the story and I just said something crazy like squirrel. There once was a lizard who lived in a forest. One day he was approached by a fat-looking man. The man had 3 squirrel. Okay, so already 3 squirrel is awkward. I'm going to fix the spacing on that. And I'm also going to say, give me a plural noun. So watch now, lizard, fat, squirrels, right? Give me a plural noun. And so here the man had 3 squirrels and claimed he could read the future. Cool, so this is becoming fun now, right? The user is inputting their own information and then the story is completely changing. You're creating a whole new project just by using these variables. So this is really cool. I think you guys have gotten it. The last thing, and I just want you to practice this. Looking right now, console.log looks really cool for punching out the story, but you could, in some situations, you could do alert story, right? So let me show you the difference. Obviously, it's not going to appear in the console anymore, but if I hit run, it says give me a male noun. What did I do? Lizard. I don't know why I said, but that, oh yeah, it's male noun to match the story. Lizard, fat, give me a plural noun, squirrels. So watch, instead of the story appearing in the console, look where it appears now. There once was a lizard who lived in a forest. One day he was approached by a fat-looking man. The man had 3 squirrels and claimed he could read the future. The lizard asked him to tell him his future, but instead the fat man told him a joke. I could see other things I could change in there. The lizard was not pleased and decided to leave. On his way home, he fell into a ravine. The end. Right? I can see 2 more other variables I can use to make this Madlib funnier. But yeah, that is already really cool. And so once again, the project consists of overview is we're creating a variable. We are using the prompt function to save user's input into this variable, and it does that a few times, and then once it has all that data, it's then going to get to this line of code and say, hey, story is equal to this giant string that has these little concatenations, which is just connecting, we're just basically injecting this information into the story, and then at the end of it, it's hey, you can now print the story. You can use either alert or you can use console. I can actually leave both. Give me an adjective. Plural noun, kittens. Right? And then there you go. You see it up there. You'll notice this executes, but it didn't print to the console. Not sure why. For some reason, the console came after the alert. That is interesting. Okay, so that is an overview for your final project for Q1. Please let me know if you have any questions. When you're done and you're done testing your code and there are no errors. So for example, watch this. If I do this and you run my code and I'm like lizards and I'm like fat and then I'm give me a plural noun dog, boom, error, right? Read here, guys. This is important. You have to read this reference error. Noun2 is not defined, right? So basically the code got to story and there was an error because noun3 does not match noun2. So just be aware, you do need to go slow, run and test your code. Cancel, 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 cancel. Right, now there's just missing. There once was a null. Null means no value. Okay, so excellent. That is your project. When you're done, you can hit unfocus here to bring up the directions. You'll have this video for assistance. You'll hit submit. And it should say submitted, and then I'll have it and you will be good to go. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching this video. Take care and good luck.